land. What did you first see?
I'm pretty sure it was Hiva. Yeah, it was the very tip of the peninsula. Just to our starboard, maybe 10 miles out.
And you rudely yelled,
"Land ho! Ow!"
How many days did it take you to see land?
27, right?
Yeah. So you can just make out Hiva Oa in the background. Our first sight of land in 27 days. It is the morning of December 30th. Our second Raymarine wheel pilot gave out late on the 26th day, and I was not able to fix it. So Ben and Sahia hand steered the final morning while I readied the boat to dock in Hiva Oa at the boatyard there. We were unable to find a place to dock near the boatyard, which actually hauled out boats via boat ramp. But as we were trying to anchor, we lost power. It turned out that the bolt connecting the propeller shaft to the engine had snapped in two, and once we replaced that, we had power again. See a copy of the new one that I put in and the old one. They have these 6 dashes which signifies what kind of steel they are, and the one that broke a couple years ago, it had a stainless end lock nut, but we bought ones that matched the metal, and so I put a copy of this new one that's on my thumb on the shaft. We'd secured promises from the boatyard to haul out this day, later this afternoon, and the boatyard would not respond to hails, so we went ashore via dinghy to talk to them. We spoke to a man in the boatyard office, and he said that they would haul us out when they put another boat in the water at high tide later this day. Frustratingly, the boat trailer would pull away as I picked up anchor, and we would not be hauled out until the new year after the holiday. The yard owner would later say that the man I spoke to and his yard owner's wife did not speak for the yard.
Bye, Contango.
After 4 weeks at sea, Ben and Sahia were eager to move in on land, but I appreciated the anchorage there in Hiva Oa, and especially the free public showers with ample supplies of water. You're not allowed to anchor with one anchor unless you're in the front of the anchorage during a time when no ships are coming in. I was fortunate that no ships were planning to come in until I would haul out on January 2nd. In French Polynesia, you check in with the gendarme, and if you're not an EU citizen like me and Ben, you need to show proof of an outbound plane ticket or post a bond. Once we'd checked in, we were free to explore the shops, banks, museums, internet cafes in Atuona, the big town in Hiva Oa. beautiful soccer field in the world. And after playing soccer, you can go to the beach and dip in the Pacific Ocean. It's over a mile walk from the dinghy docks in the harbor to Atuona, but you'll usually be able to hitchhike your way in. Here on Contango in the galley, and this pump gave out around day 26 of our 27-day passage to Hiva Oa from mainland Ecuador, and it's a 4-gallon per minute pump. I think, you know, probably what burned it out was probably the wave action, and also a low tank. So it just had to pull too much, and it burned out. But it took me a few days to realize that it was the pump burned out. I didn't realize that until I figured out that the hand pump at the sink, which I forgot about, was still working. So we almost never use the hand pump because it pumps out so much crystals from the main tank. And so I totally forgot about it. And then when I was in port, I was like, oh look, I got this hand pump and there's water coming out. That's awesome. So this is 4 gallons per minute. The one we had before is 5 gallons per minute, and we've kept that one as a spare. And so I installed that, and the water is working, so you can see it right here. Yay! So I didn't realize that we had this hand pump until I got into Hiva Oa. So we were like out of water for the last day or two, but we could have used this hand pump and we could have got it out of the tanks. So for some strange reason, the pressure water stopped working. 2 days out. And we had to fill with the jerry can. So what we did on the last day was we filled this coffee can with water from the blue jerry can, and then used the coffee can to fill everybody's water bottles. So we did have water in the jerry can, distilled water we bought in Ecuador, and I also topped it up with some of the tank water. And so on our way in, we actually just drank the distilled water. And then when we were in port the first day, I was like, oh, we have no water left. So I filled it up with a tank that was not hooked up to the freshwater system. This is the kind of bladder tank, one of 3 or 4 external tanks not hooked up to the freshwater system that we took as spare water because it was such a long passage. In the end, I don't think we needed them. That our 70-gallon tank never ran out between the 3 of us. We also had a 26-gallon tank, which we really never could use because the pump burned out when it tried to pull out the water from that. I use these for my dinghy bladder system, which is featured in the January 2016 edition of Good Old Boat magazine. Basically what it involves in the Good Old Boat article is you have one of these, then you have an external electrical pump, and that external electrical pump you'll use to pump the water into your tanks once you get your dinghy back to your boat. You can't lift the tanks obviously when they're full of water. What's your name again? Oli. Soon the day came to haul out the boat for long-term dry storage. I only had a few more days until I needed to return back to home and work because I was sailing around the world part-time. You can learn how to sail around the world part-time by getting my book on Amazon by the same title. The hull looked pretty good, just a few gooseneck barnacles, and there was no evidence that the whale strike had caused any hull damage. The yard had someone weld some of the weaker spots of the solar arch, which had came loose on the voyage. Ben and I wanted to attempt to hike up to the top of Mont Temetiu, the tallest peak on the island. We set off before dawn and hitched a ride into town. Was the other sign saying that Hanemenu was to the left?
The rock just like...
It looked like it was pointing straight, yeah. So this is the bridge where the ancient cemetery sign is. And that's where you make the left. You want to make a left at this house here. The road splits. Don't go this way. Go this way. Splits here, we're gonna try keeping left even though it doesn't seem to be on the chart. It's pretty steep. No? Okay, we just asked for directions and I guess we took the wrong turn at the bridge. If you get to this intersection, I think you've gone too far, but we're still a little lost. Backtracking to the other river, we're gonna make a right at this fork and see what's there. The red truck, house with the red truck, and it's a good steep elevation. Got a fork in the road here. This is the left, this is the middle and right. Not sure which way to go. We're trying the middle first in the fork in the road. We made the right choice with the middle path. Here's the ancient cemetery. In the middle, between the two palms, you can make out the switchbacks by eye. But the route to the top does not seem clear from this vantage point. We're not taking this route, we're staying on the paved road. This turn instead on the paved road. There's one more cemetery sign. We're taking the left here. Side path, just take the steps up and here's the ancient cemetery. The cemetery, the path becomes gravelly instead of paved. After the cemetery on the dirt road, there's a fork, one going down, one going up. We're trying the one going up to the right. This looks like the end of the road. Stone platform at the end of the road. I think it's an ancient site marked Marae. All I see is a bunch of stones here. No signs, and a lot of weeds. And at the Marae, there's this well. Don't fall in. Path really narrows. Oh, there's a little fork here, but I think they converge. The fork and the trail just go up this place in the front, and you'll see the yellow slag. We think maybe people just rest at these trees, so we're going to take that lower trail before we head towards the trees. It looks straight up. So where the trail breaks off. There's this little tiki dude. Tree marked by the plastic bottle. This is kind of a dead end here, just a big lookout. Once you get to the tree here, the rock ledge is a long way down valley from here. It's a good lookout. You can see the trail pretty clearly.
There's some clouds back behind us. We're going to keep an eye on them. Seems like anything that's coming in from a bay usually breaks up, but yeah, we had a few this morning, but what am I?
We've been going through some pretty thick vegetation in the trail, and you know, it's kind of some of the footholds are a little sketchy, especially if you slide to the left. So you're gonna want long sleeves, long pants definitely. Yellow slash in the trail here by the river. 3 rocks, probably a cairn. Yellow marker, there was a kind of a sketchy trail. You want to be very careful and look at the ground. If it seems to fall away where the path is, you want to go into the weeds and make your own trail. There's the flag at the top of the switchbacks. Once you're above the flag, the trail gets much more narrow and much more dangerous. After the mountain scramble, there's this white bucket showing the switchback. See over there.
It's maybe 1,500, 2,000 foot drop off.
Okay.
Kind of maybe like 15 feet.
What about over here?
Another drop off, huge. That's where we came from. Yeah, it's super steep. Been walking on the side of a mountain. Switchbacks for the last maybe hour and a half.
That's the flag. Yeah. Navionics tells me we're about 0.6 miles from Temetiu's peak, but we have hit the ridge. On one side I see the drop off, the other side another drop off where we came from. So this is a good moment to get to the ridge, and that was kind of my intermediate goal, and I'm happy if we have to turn around here. But we said our turnaround time was noon for Temetiu and 11 for the ridge, so we're still ahead of that. We'll see how it goes. And we'll turn around if we see clouds coming in or any threat of rain. Okay, the second one of these white barrel markers, and this is at the ridge. Me and Ben are on the ridge now. You can see Atuona in the distance. We made it to the ridge. We are actually later than we thought. 11:15. My inclination is to turn around right now, but maybe we'll talk about it. The Temetiu looks kind of far away to me. The path goes on down, I guess on the north side of this ridge, and you know, I wonder if that's just the path to, what's the town?
Hanemenu?
Hanemenu. And that's kind of a long trail that we don't want to take, and we don't want that up and down. We're past our really turnaround point for the ridge, and we're still about 0.7 miles from Temetiu. It looks like I can't see a path to it, but possibly that path going forward will switch back to it, but I'm inclined to turn around. Yeah, we're a long way though. That's like 2 or 3 hours.
So,
and it's, you know, we're probably going to get some rain today.
there's some over there.
Yeah. So let's turn around and go back. I had a few small projects to do on the boat, and then it was time to fly back home to Louisiana. via Tahiti. This video was brought to you by Mantis Anchors, the Sail Timer Wind Instrument, and viewers like you on patreon.com/slowboatsailing. Subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so you can get notices every time one of our new round the world vlogs is released on the first Thursday of the month.